Nice having you on this particular channel. So today our focus is going to be mainly on this particular project management report inside Microsoft Power BI. Previously, before now, we did create this particular one using the same project management dataset, and as well this very one using a custom chart that you're going to have access to download and actually use it to create your own report and tell your own side of the story. Over here, we're trying to look at the total budget, how much we've spent and how much is actually left, and the utilization percentage and the percentage of what we have left inside the bank for the projects that we have. So we're looking at how much we've spent for every single project right here, and where we overspent and how much we have left in some of those particular projects that we have not spent all the money being budgeted for it. So we're looking at it based on the tasks that we actually have and on a monthly basis. And over here, we're looking at the cumulative budget for every single project on a monthly basis, something very simple that anyone can actually create, right? So I'm going to show you how to actually create every single thing down to the last part of it. So if you're ready, let's get it. In the previous video, we did create this and one other one, but right now we're going to actually hide this one and create our last report. So let's Ctrl A to highlight everything. So deselect these particular slicers, not only this one. We need to deselect this particular project progress we have here. So once done, we are good to go. We can just go ahead and right click here, then click on group and have them grouped. So once we are done, we can actually go ahead and double click on this and rename it to project detail. Right, this is what we have. Then I can actually go ahead and hide it. I have something as blank as this. The very first thing we need to do is to create some couple of KPIs for our budget. So we want to know the total budget, amount spent, and total balance that we have left. All right, the very first thing we need to do is to actually bring in a card. So if I right click, I can actually go ahead and add a visual. So with this one here, I can just keep it somewhere around here for the time being. So once I have this here now, I'm going to actually go over to this particular part and make sure I'm using a new card, right? So once I have the new card here, my first measure is going to be the total budget. And if I click on it, it's something very simple. So here we have this particular, measure name. Inside the measure name here, we have this function called the sum function, and as well we brought in this particular table from this particular column from our table, and this is the table right here. Something very simple, right? So this is the first measure we brought in. The second measure should be what is the amount spent. If I bring this in now, we have the amount spent here. Quickly, we need to format this. All we have to do is to click over here and make sure this one is turned to 0. So here is the amount spent and here is the budget. So the next thing we need to bring in now is going to be the balance. But before the balance, if I click on the amount spent right here, I believe you can see what we have done here is just using a simple sum to sum the column of the amount spent inside our dataset table. All right. So next on this particular card is going to be this particular balance right here. So with this particular balance, what we're doing is actually subtracting this particular amount spent here from our total budget. That will give us this very one that we have right here. So let me show you quickly what it is. This is what we have right here. I believe you can see this particular part right now. Very simple. Okay, we have gotten all of this. This is quite good, but we don't want to have something like this. We want to make it look better than what we have right now. Using icons to bring them up better than this is something we need to do, right? So how do we do that? We have some couple of icons already that we can actually bring in right here. So let us quickly go over to here and bring up this particular one. And the first thing I'm going to do is to go to call out value here, and let me put it on all and format it at once. Let's go with 30 here, and this look quite okay. So if you want to go with this, I think this is better. You can change the color. So we can go with this kind of color here. So once we have this now, it is time for we to bring in the icons. So for we to get the icons inside here right now, we have this image part of it. So we want to select which one we want to actually affect first. Then let's go for total budget and have this one clicked on. Then go ahead and browse and bring the icons. So over here, we can see we have some couple of icons already here. I'm going to grab this one and click on OK. I have it right here. So we have to scroll all the way down. And once we are here, we can actually look at this particular part where it says right of text. So we're going to change it to left. So once it is there, we just want to make sure we change this one to 20, which is the space between our text and the icon. Then over here, let's go with 80 and see how it looks. Okay, I think 80 looks quite okay, but what if we go with 60? Okay, right, 60 is okay. So we have to be consistent. We're going to use 60 all through. So we are going to come over here to the opacity and make sure we are using 40. This is quite okay. So 40, 20, 60, you have to remember this. So once you are done, you can go over here now and change this one to amount spent. Then turn this on and quickly go ahead and bring in the second icon, this one. So we go down here. So we change this one here to 40. Then we go to 20. And here we go to 80. Okay, sometime you might need to change your mind based on what you have. Let's go with 70 because this one is a little bit huge. Then we want to make sure this one is actually on the left hand corner as well. Can you see this now? So we need to bring in the last one, which is this very one here for the balance. Turn this on and go ahead and pick up this last one here. So once this one is here, we just want to do the same thing to it by converting this one into 40. Then we make sure this one is on the left hand corner and we go with spacing to be 20. Let's quickly do this one 80 and see what we have. Okay, I think 80 is quite okay, right? But the thing that is not really looking fine now is the text, mostly my figures. So we want to fix that. Let's go over to here and close this. Click over here now. It's on all. Let's go and grab this. Now this one pops out very well and this is okay. So we are almost done with this one. I'm just going to make sure I adjust it and keep it somewhere around here for the time being. Then I just need to shift this to this particular part. The next thing we need to have right now is going to be what I call budget utilization percentage. For our budget utilization percentage, I can just go ahead and right click and add new visual. So inside here, we want to bring in a visual, and the visual should be this particular gauge chart right here. So once we have this gauge chart here, we can go over here and find where I have this particular budget utilization right thing and click on it. Quickly, I have something like this. So let me quickly show you the measure I have written to get this done. So this measure is very simple. We're using the divide function here to divide the amount spent by the total budget. That will give us the percentage of the amount of money we have utilized based on the budget that we have. Can you see that right now? Very simple. So once done, you have to make sure this is actually formatted in a percentage number formatting. Then we have something like this. Quickly, we need to just go ahead and do some work on this. Let's click over here and turn off the data label from it, and you have something that pops this way. So for the title, we want to make sure the title is in the middle. So here we go. We're going to format this later after all, but for now, let us just keep it very rough and see what we can do to make it better. So the thing is this, we have to actually create some kind of conditional formatting for this to make it look presentable, because right now it's not good at all. So what do? We need to write a measure for it. So with our new measure right here, what we want to do right now, we want to actually pick the measure that powers this particular 86.86% right here, and throw it in this particular place, then actually ask if this is greater than 0.5, right? So what do I mean? Let's say they have some kind of targets that they set that they should actually, or if it is below this budget, it should be red. If it's above this budget, it should be yellow, or vice versa. You need to do that. So right now, we want, if our budget is at the level of 50%, we want to see green. If it is above 50%, we want to see red, which means our budget is almost going. We don't have much money available for the project. That is what we want. So to get that done right now, you can just say CF. So let's say 01, or I can just type in budgets, right? So with my equal sign here, what I'm going to do right now is just to actually call this particular budget utilization here and ask if it is greater than 0.5. That is 50%. If that is true, we want to actually make sure we say, okay, if this is true, oh sorry, I ought to have written my if function first. So if here, and if this is true, what we just want to do is to make sure we say give us 1, otherwise give us 0, and we'll go ahead and have this closed. So we're going to use this particular 1 and 0 to actually give it the color we want. So let's quickly go over and click this one here, and this time around we want to go over to this particular color part. So we are going to use the fill color. So click over here for the fill color, and let's go to the rules, and once we are here, click over here, and the CF for budget is what we need. Then you add a new rule, and over here you turn it to equals, and you choose this one to be 0, and you choose this one to be 1. All right, so for the 0, we're going to put it at red, and for the 1, we're going to go ahead and select a particular green color of our choice. Maybe we're going to use this particular type of green. Any one is okay. So let's go ahead and click on OK and see what it is that we have. So we have made a mistake. That mistake can be fixed right here. We're going to actually swap things right here by going over to this conditional formatting here and say if this is actually greater than, what we want to see is 0, not 1. So it's 0, but when it is less than 50, which means we still have a lot of money available for our projects. So that is where we want to see 1. So if I hit enter right now, I should be seeing red instead of green. So can you see it right now? This is what we actually have, and it's actually okay. Okay. So remaining budget here is this particular one here. So what are we doing? What did we do in this particular part? So for the remaining budget, we have this here representing 100%. So this particular, gauge chart here is 100% if it gets to this particular part right now. So what we are trying to evaluate now is that this particular, space here after this red now, before this particular red underlined here. So we want to actually subtract it from 100, and that will give us how many percentage of balance we have left. I don't know if I'm communicating. So let's quickly do it. So I'm going to bring this one into a card like this. So I have to go over here and make sure I select this one to convert it into a percentage. So 1.0 means 100. So which means we have 13.14%. So if you actually add 13.14% to 86.86% right now, it's going to give you approximately 100%. So now that we have gotten this here, we want to actually make sure we create a dynamic title for it, which means we have to turn off this particular category label, right? Okay, the title we're going to give this one now is going to be this. Let's go ahead and create a new measure. So this percentage of remaining budget here. So we want to ask if this is actually less than 0, then if that is the case, we want to actually have a title for rate, and the title should be sorry, here, comma. So the title should be above budget. Then otherwise, now we're gonna say, okay, give me remaining budget. So we close and hit our enter. So when the budget is actually maybe on a negative value, that means we have spent above the budget that has been given to us. So that is it. So we're going to bring the title into a card like this. So you can see what we have here. Don't worry, we're going to do things right. Okay, now we need to actually make sure we write a conditional formatting for this as well. This conditional formatting is going to be different from what we have right here. So let's do it. Right click and create a new measure. So it's going to be if. So this if here is going to check, right? So it's going to check if our percentage of remaining budget here is less than 0, then we want to actually have 0. Then we actually go ahead and say, okay, if again, we are using nested if. We can use switch through to get it done, but we're using nested if right now. So if the percentage remaining here is actually less than 0.3, that is 30%, then we want to actually see 1, otherwise give us 2, and we can go ahead and actually close and hit our enter key, right? I hope this is not confusing. Don't worry, you're going to see how I actually use this right now. Okay, so let us select it and make sure we go over to this, and now you can see I can select this one and it will change, but I want to make it dynamic. Let's click over the FX here and go to the rules and click over here, CF. We're going to use the remaining budget here, add more to this time around. We do equals, equals, and equals. So let's start from 0. So we do 1, and here will be 2. So for this one here, where it is 0, we're going to use this red, and we choose this one here. This particular red here means we have exhausted our budget and even beyond. So this one here means not totally exhausted, but low. While this one here means if we still have it at 30%, which means what we have is good. We still have a lot of money with us for our project, so we want to actually go with green right here. So light red, deep red. Can you see now? So let's go over here and select the green color we want to use. So we can choose this part here and choose any green of our choice. Can you see? All right, let's click on OK. This time around, this is what we have. Can you see? So because it's not up to 30%, we are having this color, which is just a fair result. I don't know how to put this. So that means it's low. So it correlates with what we have right here. So we can just decide to change it to different persons here. It changed accordingly. So if I unfilter everything now, so still we don't have. Okay, fine. We have this. We can just go ahead and make this a bit smaller by changing it to 20, for example. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with 19, and so just keep this one over here right now. We'll come back to it and make sure we make it look okay. All right, what is next? If we are done with this now, the next thing is for you to create some couple of charts that will definitely show the budget versus amount spent by project name. So what we need to get for the first time is for you to actually insert a particular chart. So let's go ahead and insert this particular, our closed tab bar chart right here. So with our closed tab bar chart, what we want to have in here, let's go to the project and locate the project name. Right. So after that, we go to where we have our measure, and we want to bring in our total budget, and we bring in the total amount spent. Then we have something like this. Do you see it now? So we just have to clean it up for we to create the second part of the chart we want to create. So we turn off the value and as well this. So we go over here, we turn off just the title. So we have something like this. For the legend here, we don't want to have a title for the legend. We take the legend title off. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one just like this. So once I'm done, I'm going to go to my y-axis and make sure this one is at 50%. Then I can have this one showed everything for me. So you want to do this bold to make sure it shows everything. Once done, go ahead and Control C and Control V, then paste it and actually bring this over here. So once you have this over here, remove this particular total budget and the amount spent, then let us bring in the balance. I hope you still remember this particular measure here. This gives you the balance. But right now, things is not looking quite okay. If you can see, let's see here, go and hide. Let's just illustrate something here. This one here corresponds to this. This one corresponds to this one here, corresponds to this, but this one do not correspond to this, and this one is actually missing where it should be. So how do we make sure we actually, make them look the same part? So let us quickly click on this first one here and click over here. Oh, sorry. I think these three dots. I'm going to deselect now. Let's click over the chart. Then these three dots here, once you click on it, go ahead and check what is used to sort it. Total budget is used to sort this table. Total budget. So if we want to make sure this particular shopping complex B here is pointing at this particular one, which means we want to swap this warehouse D to here while this one goes up to make sure it corresponds to here. What we need to do is to click over here, open up this part here, and scroll the way down. You're going to see where it says tooltips. Then let us go over here and we bring in budget into our tooltip. So once budget lands into our tooltip, we can have this one here hidden. Then we go over here and we click on the sort axis, we sort by budget. So immediately we sort by budget, we now have it to look right the way we want it. Do you see this now? Very interesting. So we don't want to keep the title, neither if we want to actually keep anything that has to do with the y-axis. We can turn the y-axis down. So we have something like this. Okay, now this chart here will stay. I think you can see right now we do not have anything that has to do with the color of our choice. We're gonna actually pick up a color that will make our dashboard look fine, but for now let us keep it at this. So you can resize it here and resize this. Okay, if you look at what is going on now, this one to this one to this one to this, and finally this one to this. You see this now? This is what we have done. All right, so you might want to keep or put their data label right on it. So let's go over here and click on it. This one as well, return on data label. Later, after all, we're gonna make it right. So with this done, we are cool with this. So the next thing we're gonna do right now is to actually quickly duplicate what we have here. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V to paste it down and move this one over this particular spot. So once we have this here, all we need to change is just go over here and change this particular one. So from this one now, we're going to change it to task, the task. So here the task name. Then we do the same thing to this one. The task name here. So here we go. So I can just go ahead and make this one a bit smaller. So don't worry about the arrangement. We're going to arrange it and make it look better later after all. So for now, we have a rough work. Okay, now that we have gotten this done, what is next? The next thing we're going to do right now is to actually calculate what I call cumulative, or budget and cumulative amount spent. We don't have to write a single DAX for that. We have what we call visual calculation. So let me quickly take you to that. So in our visual calculation, we have it here. Right now, it's not active. That was because we don't have what will make it active. So let us quickly activate it. So what I'm going to do now is to actually bring in my total amount spent and total budget into this, right? So once I have it here, the next thing I'm going to do is to actually click over my calendar and bring in my month. So I have the month here. So I'm going to convert this into a table. Let us quickly go over here and bring up this table. So we have this into a table. So for we to actually see what we are doing, we can stretch it and take a look at it here. So once we have done this now, automatically this is active for we to make use of it, right? The next thing I'm going to do right now is to make sure I click on the new visual calculation. So I'm going to have this. So the next thing I'm going to do is to click on this FX here and take out this running total, click on it. So over here, we can rename this into cumulative budget. Now, the field here should be total budget. So this field must be existing inside your table, otherwise you wouldn't be able to actually use it. So any measure that is not in this table cannot be used. Whatever is sitting outside cannot be reused here. So we have this, you can go ahead and hit the enter key, and now you have the value, right? So do the same thing again. And this time around, this one should be the amount spent. Then if I hit my enter key, I have this. But there is something that will happen if we try to say, okay, you know what we actually want is not this two here. We only want the cumulative to stay, which is this to stay. So for that, we are going to actually get rid of this particular two and go ahead and actually, keep this particular two right here. So let us try it and see what we have. So if I actually remove amount spent now, automatically we have an error. So which means we cannot remove it, but we can still make sure we have it removed, but not totally removed. Let us go back here and bring back our amount spent here. Now it has actually restored this. So instead of you to have it removed, go ahead and click on this particular hide and hide here. So we now have the two columns that we just created that we want to have, right? So here we should have this one as cumulative. To rename this particular amount spent one now, we can click over this particular pencil icon and we just make sure we name it to cumulative amount. Spent. So update it. All right, so once I'm done, I can step off from here, and now I have something like this. So the chart I want to use is this particular area chart here, and that will give me something like this. So let us quickly go ahead and see it on the focus mode. Here the title is here, Then if we go to this particular x-axis here, we just turn off the title as well. Turn off the title. Now over here on the title here, we just type in cumulative analysis. All right, so we have something like this. So we can just go ahead and bring this and keep it somewhere around here. So we're going to arrange everything later after all. So we have one more chart left, and that's going to be a line chart. So with this particular 2 line charts we have here, so I'm going to make it bigger. So on this line chart, what we want to have here is to have the total budget and the amount spent by month. So we go over here. Here's our budget, and here is the amount spent. So we just need to go over to the calendar and bring in the month. So here we go, we have it. So I would love to actually make sure I format how this looks like. So let's go over here to our line. So under the line here, we want to select all and step into this linear, and you choose this smooth line. I love using smooth line a lot. Okay, so with our smooth line here, we are good to go. What we need to do is to go all the way back up, and we just go ahead and turn off the title for the legend. We don't need to keep it. So we want to make sure we change the title to make sure it's some kind of speak more volume than what it is right now. So I'm going to just do budget versus amount spent. So we do not need to specify if it is month or whatever, because it's crystal clear that we are looking at month. So once done, you can just go ahead and actually, format the X and the Y axis to make sure it looks just like what you really want to have, right? I'm going to make it bold. So here we go. For the Y axis here, we need to make sure we turn off the title for it. And as well, we turn off the value. So we are good to go with this. We can just make it a bit smaller, and we're going to actually make sure it sits right here. And I'm going to tell you firsthand that this is everything that we need to actually have right here. But how do we make it look beautiful and presentable to the end users? That is the next thing we need to go into right now. Just go ahead and open PowerPoint, and you're going to have this once you have it opened or launched. So make sure you get all of this off from here. And now let's get this and just drag it here. So I want us to be on the same page. So I'm going to give you the dimension we're going to be using for this. So over here, we're going to do 085. So let's do 085. We do that by 13.33. So we have something like this. We're going to keep it somewhere around here. So the next thing now is to actually create what I call the logo of the company. If you don't have the logo, you can actually use the text. So we have a logo. I'm going to come over here and go over to pictures and this device. It depends on the version of PowerPoint you're using. So you might have something different than what I have right now. So let's go get it. All right, we have this logo here. I'm just going to resize this and bring it over to the top here and have it resized, then take it up and have it somewhere around here. So I can make it big a little bit and make sure it fill up this particular part here. So something like this will be nice for me. So what I'll do now is that I want to actually pick a color that will match my logo, and my logo will seem like is actually without background. And to do that now, I'm going to click on this one. Just right click and go over to shape format. Then let's just go to line and say no line. And now we go to fill color now. Pick this particular eyedropper and pick up this particular color right here, dark blue. Now we have something like this. Can you see what we have right now? So you can adjust this a bit if you think it's not really what you want. This is the first thing we want to actually get from here, and we have just gotten it. The next thing now is for me to actually export this out, export, and go over to this particular place, change file type, and now we go ahead and use JPEG. So here, just rename it to anything you like and just save. Then make sure it's just this one. Now we are good to go. We need to go to Power BI right now and start using this to create our report. Now that we are here, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we come over to this place and go over to Canvas background and click on this particular browse. So from browse, we're going to pick up this one here. So it doesn't show up. Make sure this one is actually at 0%. And here we go. So we can now actually start our formatting from here. So make sure this one is some kind of settled at the top here. Right. So quickly you can hold your control key to click on this one and equally align them by going to formats and click on align and align to the bottom. That is beautiful. So the next thing now is for me to go over to here and go turn off the background I have for it. I don't need the background. So once I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I some kind of go ahead and click on the value area and make sure the font is white. That pops it up very well. Not just that, the header here should actually be something that pops a little bit, not as popped as what is inside it. So something like this would be cool for me, right? So I can select anybody. So if you look at it right now, this one has a background that is white and the text you have in it is not popping out. So what can we do? Let us have a background like this. And to get a background like this, what we can do is just wait to make sure we go back to PowerPoint and copy the hex code or the RGB color from there. Let's do it. So we are here. Let's click on this one over here, more colors, and over here we go ahead and Ctrl C to copy. So you can use the RGB if you don't have the hex code on the version of PowerPoint that you have. The RGB can be used. So now that we are here, I'm gonna hold my Ctrl key to select both of them. So let's go down to this particular part and scroll down a little bit until we find this background here. So once found, let's go ahead and click and go to more colors. If you are using the RGB, here is the boxes to actually paste your code. But right now I'm using the hex code. I'm going to paste my code on the hex code here, right? So you might want to make it different a little bit, which is not really something that we should do. So you can just go ahead and step in. Now you can see here what you have. Can you see now? So my dashboard will actually update automatically. So that is it. So we can just decide to select some couple of months, not every month, something like this will be fine. So now that we have actually done this, the next thing we have to do is to start to clean up this particular spot right here, which is very important. So how do we go about this? So let's do it. Make sure you click on this particular part here and go over here and step into more colors. And now we have to go over to custom. And so in case you don't have this particular hex code, make sure what you actually type in is 244 for red, green 247, and blue 253. And if you want to go with the hex code here, we have F4, F7, FD. That is what can give the color we are going to use right now. So we've changed the color to actually give us something different than what we have before. You get it right now? So now we can actually export this out. So let's go over to here and click on export. Click on this one. Click on JPEG again. Then make sure you actually replace the previous one. That is all you need to do. So that is done. Just this one. We can go back now and pick it up. So now that we are here, we have to use this. Just make sure you click outside any objects you have right here. Don't hold any object down. So let's go ahead and remove this and bring it back once again. That will be a new update for us. So now here we go. Okay, so I would love to do something here. Go to this particular wallpaper here and choose a dark color. Yeah. So this will actually give me only the canvas area. All right, let's go back and do the magic. Over here, I want to go with this and just do something like this. So the rounded corner should be reduced a little bit. So once done, we want to go over here and choose white. You can see, here we go. I can just go ahead and take off the outline. So once taken off, let's go over to here and click on this particular shadow, and let's go over to preset and select a particular one we want to use. Let's go with this one, for example. And if I step off it, this is what we have. It's pretty too much. We have to reduce it a little bit. So click back on it and make sure you know the one I selected so that we can be on the same page. This is the one I selected, the one that has offset center. So now we can actually customize how we see this by just reducing this particular transparency, right? If you step off it, you're going to have something like this. So now, even though if it's on a near white background or on a white background, it's still going to pop. That is what we want, right? Let's click back on it again and still reduce it a little bit. So go over here and just take it down to almost 90. Now we have 90, and 90 is okay. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is just to actually, right click here and go over to save as picture. So once you save as picture, we're going to come over here and save as picture. So I used KPI Cards, to save this. I can just click on save. So now that you have saved, we can go ahead and pick it up. We are here. So it is time for we to pick up what we have brought into our folder. The next thing we have to do is to make sure we click on insert, and from insert we can click on where we can click over to this particular shape. I think image. So here we go. We have this. So here we are. We have it here. It's not appearing so well now, but we can actually fix things around. Let's go over to image style and actually go to fit. Now it fills everywhere for us. So once done, we can just resize it and keep it somewhere around here at the top here. We're going to keep it somewhere around here. So I can just go ahead and stretch this to this end. So this is what I have. Stretch to this end. So once you are cool with what you have now, the next thing is for you to make sure it is in the center like this. And now you can actually make sure you send it to back by going over to format here, and you go to here and you send to back. So once you send to back, anything behind it will come to the front. So we can now click on this one here and actually move it inside it like this. So once done, we can go over to where we have the background of this one right in and have it turned off. No background for it. And we step off here. We go to card. We go down until we find the border and as well the background, and we turn it off. So now we have something as this. So we have to make sure we keep on adjusting things manually until we fit it into this particular, one. Yeah, that is beautiful. So it's time for we to actually make sure we apply the same thing to this one. This one should be here. Then the same thing to this very one here. This one should be somewhere around here. And this value should actually come into it. So now we have just settled this down, and it's beautiful. So let us look at what is next. You might be thinking, why don't you just take a card from here? Because we have card available here that can do that for us, which is this particular ones here. Like this one here can almost do the same thing. But unfortunately, it wouldn't give me what I want. Like you can still some kind of readjust things out there, design it to whatever you like, give it any, facelift. But this one, no, I don't want to use it. All right, let's delete it. We're going to go back right now and create four more cards. Card for this one, card for this one, cards for this one, and this one, right? So let's do it quickly. So going back here now, we can actually transform this into a different card if we want, but I think it's of no use to do that now. Let's take it off and go ahead and take this very one. So just make sure it's this way and reduce what you have here. All right, so once done, that is beautiful. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure I click on the background here and go over here and select the color I use for my background, which is this one here. I'm going to copy it, Ctrl C to copy. So click on this one here and actually make sure you go to gradient fill. And once you're done, you can actually take off 2 steps and only have 2 steps here. Is it steps or stops? Okay, I think it stops. So let's go over to this particular top one here and make sure we change it to white. And for the bottom one here, we change it to actually match this. Okay, it's even here, this one, right? You might not know the effect right now, but if you just look around, you'll see what is going on. So let's go over to the line here and take off the line. We don't want to have the line kept. So the line is gone. You're going to have something like this. So it's not popping, right? No problem. So if I step off it, it has actually died into the background. This is how it looks. So what I will do now is to click on it and go over to this particular part here and click on this and use the one that has an offset to the top right. So once we have it, this is what it's going to give to you. I don't want something too much, so I'm going to have to reduce this to almost 95%, if not even more, below 95%. So with my 95%, it looks like nothing is here, but this cool. I love this like this. So I'm going to double this by just clicking on it and click on this one and go back here and actually take off the offset, which is using none, makes it to actually take the offset off. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go over here and click on this particular, solid line, solid fill. Then over here, I'm going to choose this particular color. Sorry, not this color, but this eyedropper to pick this color. I'm thinking, okay, should I use this one? Okay, if need be, I can choose a different color. Let's go with this particular color. So this color code is more colors. It's going to be, 20 for red, green, 106, 147 for blue, and hex code is actually 146A93. So take note of that. So once we have this now, what I'm going to do is just to make sure this one here, I can just make it this way and bring this one down a little bit. Right. So I'm going to click on this one, and what I'm going to do now is just to some kind of go over to here, align to align it to the middle, and now align to the left. So we have something like this. I step off it, I click on this one, I just step this way. So I can click on this one now. So I think I can still fill it up. Still fill it up a little bit, fill it down here, and now go over to here, this particular part, and let's click on this color. We want to get a middle color, a middle stop. So we have a middle stop, and this our middle stop is where we're going to choose this color. I forgot. So this one should be white, this one should be this color. And click over here in case you can't get this. This is what you want to use. So linear down is something you want to use. So once you're good to go, you can actually bring this one until it shows a little of it. Something like this is what we actually want. This is design what, and this design cannot be gotten from Power BI. So what I'm going to do is just to highlight everything. Once done, right click, and you can group them together if you want to do that. So Ctrl Z if you make any mistake. So let us highlight everything here. So once done, right click. Oh no, what is going on? Okay, don't aim from here, aim from the edge here, right click and see save as picture. So I'm gonna just name this one to P1, whatever, you can name it anything you like. So P1, save it, and let's go to here. Now that we've saved it, we want to come over here now, and oh sorry, we're not going to actually use this, but instead we're going to take it as an image. So we take our P1 in. So our P1 should be here now. And quickly, once we have our P1 here, go to image and go to normal, go to fit. So we have this. We can actually keep this over here. So once this is here, you can just adjust things and bring it down. So have a white space here. Don't make sure it fills all the way down. So we can just reduce things a little bit here. Okay. So we have to actually copy and paste with Control C, Control V. You're going to have to copy and paste. So once we have this here, we'll take it up a little bit to be on the same level. So now we can just move this. Hold your Control key to select both of them and go over to Format and go to Align. You can align tab. And here we go. So once done, the next thing we have to do is to go ahead and send to back. So we've sent them to back now. This is what we have like this. So now we can just try to adjust things here to fill up this particular part. And over here, you can just make sure this one is being moved to some kind of align with what you have here. So we're going to use conditional formatting for this one to change its color so that we can have red for where we have, you know, when we spent above the budget that we have. So the same thing I'm going to do to this one. Move it up a little bit like this here. And over here, we have to make sure it aligns properly. So once done now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we start to give it the right color that we want. But before then, we have one more thing to go. So let's go ahead and get this one duplicated. Control C, Control V. Now we bring the duplicate over here. So I'm going to make this one a bit smaller just to cover up for this particular part. So Control C, Control V. I'm going to bring this one down here. So nicely done. The next thing we have to do is to go to Format and make sure we send this to back. And now here we go. So we have something like this. We can just resize this and make sure it fits into what we have right here. So just make sure this one sits right at this particular spot. You have to take your time to actually format this. It will look nice. You have a very nice, report. So now this is what we actually have right here. So what is wrong with this? We have to send it to back. Okay, now let me say we are almost done with this one. What is left right now is for you to have a nice color right on this. So for that, what color are we looking forward to seeing? I'm going to use this particular background color here for this part here and choose a complementary color to actually help us out. So going back here now, we can pick this particular one, go over here and go to more colors. We can pick up this particular hex code we have right here. We have to actually create what I call consistency with our colors. So let's go back. So if I click over here now and go over here, I'm going to turn off the background. So what did I do? Oh, sorry. I wanted to turn off the background. You click over here and let's go here and turn off the background. Do the same thing to this very one. Is important. You don't need any background right for it. So that's been done for this one. So over here now, I want to go up. Then click over to where you have the bars here, and you have to choose which one you want to actually affect, like the color you want to change. So we have budget, we have spend. So let's go for the budget. So for the budget, I want to use this particular color for the budget. Right now, we can actually on our own, if you know how to mix color yourself, you can go over here now and choose the same color, But this time around, you want to go back in and actually click over here and step in and actually swap it to a different color that is similar to the color you have used for the budget. So we are still in the color family. I'm going to go with this one right here. You get it? So once done, I'm going to come over here now and do the same exact thing. Clicking over here, go into here and select this one. So this one matches my amount spent. And if I switch this one to the budget, I'm going to click here and pick up this one for budget. So you can see what I have done here. I kept what I call consistency all through, right? Okay, this one here I told you is going to be a conditional formatting. We need to do that because this one we can just leave it at this. But before then, let us do something over here and agree with the color we want to use. So it's just one. You don't need to actually select anything from here. So let's go over here and pick up this color. This time around, we have to change the color again and make sure we are looking at maybe a more lighter version of the color. And if need be, we can bring this one a bit here to make the color to vary from what we have before, right? So now something like this would be cool for me. So this is what I want. I'm going to copy the hex code from here. Now we need to create the conditional formatting that will help us do this work, because what if there is something below or above? We want to do that. So let's click over here. And now we need to open up our measure to create a measure that will help us to give us this color that we want. So I always love to actually use CF for conditional formatting, and I proceed this with the measure, the table name. So it's project name. So right. So what I'm going to do now is going to actually ask if the balance is some kind of less than 0, then I want to see, or greater than 0, not less than, I want to see 1. Otherwise, give me 0 and click here, hit OK. So you can use this one to actually give it our condition. So let us quickly step into this particular bars and have the color changed quickly. So we move down, we go over to FX here. So you can go to this rule and you choose this CF for project name. And over here, we have 0 already. So we can do equals. So we choose 1 for this one. And over here, for where we have 1, I want to paste in this particular color I copied, right? For where we have 0, we want to go with this kind of red. So this red should match the previous red we used before. Now, can you see it now? So do you see this color here matches this one? And this is the one we've chosen to actually use. So we can do the same thing to this particular one like this. So let's go over to here, and step into here. So CF. And add 1. So we choose 1 here, and where we have 1, we want to use this color code I copied. So in case you don't know what it is, here is the color code. So we go for negative value. We do this. Oh, sorry, I think there is messed up here. This is not a project name. I'm thinking, why is it giving us this? Let's see. What we have here is actually gonna be, this is balance, of course. Balance. Okay, let's go back and revisit this path to see what we have done. We change this to number. Let's click on OK. Okay, now it works. So one silly mistake can actually, render your hours useless, because you'll be finding like, what the heck is going on? If you have not faced this kind of situation before, you wouldn't know what's going on. Okay, so when you actually click on this particular part right now, you're gonna see that this one gives you red because it's actually non-negative value. So when we actually filter it, because it's low but not too low, we We don't have much money in our reservoir for the project, but we still have money. So when a particular project does not have any money at all, we've spent above, like we spent above, we are owing, then this is what you see. And if I click over here now, you can now see I have green here because 37.29% is enough money down for the project that we have. This is what I have actually done to condition this. So you should have watched this particular part where I actually created this particular condition. We gave it 3 conditions: red, not too dark red, and green color. So that is it. So color speaks louder than just numbers. You need to actually know how to use those colors, you know, for what you want. So over here, we're going to actually match this particular line colors as well. So let's go over to this particular part and choose the total budget. So we know the color for our budget, right? Let's go down to colors and we click, this is our budget. And now once that is done, we just need to go back and choose the spend. So we go ahead and pick up this particular color for the amount spent. And over here, we do cumulative as well. So for the cumulative, we want to go up a bit and choose the cumulative budget. So for cumulative budget, we know the color already. It's going to be this one. So we go back and the amount spent. So we scroll all the way down and we click on this, and here we go. We match it up with this one. So I'm going to tell you that 100% our dashboard is ready. Do you get me now? All you have to do now is to actually make sure this particular part here, total budget, amount spent by project. Okay. We have to change this title. Let us do budget versus amount spent by projects or project name. Okay, we have to make sure this is on something like 15. I think 16 will be okay. So let's go over here and choose something like this. Then we do the same thing to this particular one. So this one here should actually be budget versus amount spent by the tasks. So we're using 16 and we go with this color. All right, so we are done with this now. The next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I some kind of just group everything I have here. Group everything. So if I click on this one now, it might not help me to group it right. So let's go over here, select, and click over this one to open it up. So it shows you everything here. So the first thing I want you to look at right now is that this one is hidden, this one is hidden away. So we need to actually make sure we hold our control key and it will select everything we have right there. And if it selects everything we have right there, that includes the one we have hidden before. So quickly we subtract this from it. We subtract this from it. We don't want to actually include them. So we subtract this particular filters and this filter here from it. Every other thing can actually be along with this. So go ahead and right click and click on group and have this one group. So once we have grouped this one, double click on it and actually have its name changed to budget. Right. So our budget is grouped. We can actually have our budget hidden. And now let us bring in this particular one. This is the most simplest part of it right here. So I'm going to do one, let me call it a giant. I'm going to do one giant. So coming over here right now, it's time for me to actually get this one deleted, get this one deleted as well. So let's go over to here. The rounded corner rectangle is what we want, and just make it as bigger as you want and adjust this particular part. We want there to be a rounded corner, but not pretty much, something a little bit, you know, rounded will be okay. So once done, we quickly visit this particular part here and choose to use white. And we go ahead and take off the line. And let us quickly go over here now. And we're going to use this offset center. And we have to reduce this a little bit to like 90. percent will be okay. Something like this will give us what we want. So here we go. I want to make sure I put this at let's go over to 94, right? So 94 is okay. Right click and let's go over here and save as picture. And this one is gonna be P2, right? Save it. P for picture, whatever you want to think of it. So once that is done, we want to go over here and sorry, not here. So go to insert and click on image, and let's go to P2. Here is our P2. So here's our P2. Quickly we go over here and we step into this and we use the filth here. So you make sure you fill it up to this particular path. So you fill it down. Now we send it to back. Go to format and we send this to back. So we can now make sure we adjust things right here to fit into the and so this is what we want. But now remember we have actually grouped this before, and this is the name. We're going to create a new group now. So if I hold my control key to select both of them now, I'm grouping the new background I brought in with this one, which is going to be a new group. So let's call that project progress bar again. So I'm just going to right click and click on group. That groups both of them again. So I'm going to do double click project written together. So now I can have it turned off. So the next thing I'm going to do is to actually turn on my project detail here. So this one we have a bit work to do. So this is it. It's not really complicated, but it's something simple. So let's quickly see how we can actually create the background of this one and make it look beautiful. So coming here, we can just reduce what we have here, right? So what I'm going to do now is just, do I need to do this? I think I can use the previous one. It can be used. So let's quickly go over to insert and go over to this image and bring up the P2. And let's quickly go hide this one for now. And let's go over here, image style, and we fit this one in. So now we can just keep this one over here and resize it. So I'm going to copy and paste, drag this one here. For this one here, let's send it to back and see what we have. So we're going to say send to back. So if you step off it, this is what you have. So quickly, we have to click, and it's going to be a problem clicking on it individually. So what I'm going to do now, let us open up this place and see what we can do. We can actually open up the project. So we have a lot going on here. So all we have to do is to right click now and click here and go over here. When you are here, you're going to see this ungroup everything. So we have ungrouped everything now. So once ungrouped, we can actually select just this particular environment and push it at once. That is included with this. So remove this one. And now let's take this up. So we fit this one into here. I'm going to tell you first time that we are done with this one. Nice work. So let's come over here now. Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So we keep the duplicate here. And this one here should come into this particular part. You get it right now? So once it is here, we bring this down. And now, here we go. So we have to make sure we send this one here. We send it to what? Send it to back. Send to back. Nicely done, right? So there is something I'm going to show you quickly. Let's take this one up align it properly, hold the control key to select both of them, go to the format area and click on align and align this to the top. So once done now, it is time for we to actually agree with the color we want to use for this particular one. And recently we have used a particular color. If I click on this one now and have this hidden, we can come over here and go to column. So click on this particular part, this particular part here. This is the color we chose before. So I can clear this color from here and we have this. So quickly, we're going to use this particular, colors we have right here. So I'm going to go with this particular color for now. So once done, then we can decide to highlight the highest point if we want to, but which I think is not really important. So now we go over to the line. So for the line here, we step down a little bit until we find the color. Choose the color, we click on this and we've used this color. So this is what we have. Okay, let me see something here. If I select here now and I decide to select some couple of months, can you see now it's affecting this one? I don't want it to be affected. So if you don't want that, what you can do is to actually make sure you go over here, step into it and click on format and interaction, and you remove this one like this, right? But we want it to be included. That is only when somebody selects the year. So let's go ahead and select it. So now we have multiple years here. If I select 2024, this changes. If I select 2023, this changes. Remember, in case you click on this one and it's giving you blank, there is no specific project at 2025. So what we just have at 2025 is that most of the projects we have are some kind of extended to 2025 to be finished. There was no project that will start in 2025. It's an extension of the due date of the project. So for that, when you click on this, there will there will not be any project. You're going to see blank everywhere. So if we want to actually control this now, we can actually use the filter area here. So make sure this one is clicked on and come over here now. And so let's see, can we find, okay, let's go down to the year part. So come over to the year part here and go to basic. So now we choose everything, we select this. So that will actually make it very easy. In case your boss was like clicking on 2025 and it's not finding anything, he has to call you up again, right? Okay, that is being put off the way. So the next thing we have to do right now is to make sure we go over to insert again and we click over this particular shape and we get this. So once we have this now, I can resize it and put it above here, right? So let's go over here. So we have border for it. So this is completed task here. So we want to match the border color to this very one. And we can increase the width. Let us put it at, I think 2 will be okay. At 2 will be okay. So we can copy and paste it. And we bring this one over to this particular part here. So once done, we come over here and change it to this very one. So it serves as legend, for our chart to tell us what these bars are and what the lines are. This is what I've done right here. I don't know if this makes sense to you, but it does make a lot of sense, right? Okay, this one now we have to make sure we come over here. Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V to have a duplicate of it. Keep this one over here. Resize it and make it smaller. So we want to keep this over here and stretch it to this particular end. The white space here is very important, and drag this down. So once done, and once you're cool with this, you can just go ahead and go over to format and click on this particular part and send it to back. So we have this. So we can adjust things by clicking on it and drag this up a little bit and make sure it's sitting in the middle of it. So I can just go ahead and take this up. So make sure this one, adjust it. Okay, now let us click here and bring this one over to here and stretch it to this end. Here we go. We drag this down. So once you click on this one, you can just go ahead and align this one to sit here. So over here, we're going to click on the bars. Oh, we have to quickly send this particular card here to back, format, and we send to back. So once we click on this one now, we go to colors here, and the positive colors should be on this. So there is no negative color, so we can not really concern ourselves much about that. So if we want to actually, have what we call precaution, we can choose this. And for the background, we don't need to actually make anything, difficult for that. So we go with something like this. So I'm going to tell you firsthand that we are done creating all the backgrounds we need for our dashboard, and it's looking very clean right now. So what I'm going to do now is just to make sure I go over here. And now remember, we have some kind of we have this already as a report on their own. So come over here and click Ctrl A to select everything, and now they select those ones. Okay, make sure we align this one properly. Yeah, proper alignment is good. So let us click on this one. I think it has background. We have to go ahead and remove it. Yes, removed. No, sorry. Not this. Here. This. Removed. All right. Deselect everything. Make sure this one is up and down. And it selects what you don't want to be included. This one and this one should be excluded as well. So once done, the next thing you have to do now is to go ahead and right click and click on group, and you have them grouped, right? So this one here should be called project. Details. Okay. This one here now should be called timeline. All right, we have everything here. So what am I going to do? We need to create what I call bookmark for this. So open up this particular part called bookmark. In case you don't have it, or click on the plus here, you're going to find anything you want to turn off and on over here, right? So we have our bookmark, and we have the selection. So what is active right now is actually the project detail. That is what is actually active right away. So for our project detail, we need to make sure we click on it, and once done, we can turn it off here and turn it back on here. Now that it's on, we have to make sure we click over this particular ad and have it named to project details. Right now, turn it off again and click over this one. Then make sure you select to remember what you have. Here is timeline. Add this one, and over here we type in timeline. Then we turn it off again. We come over here. We click on this one to make sure it shows up. And once done, make sure you highlight it to know where you are. Click on this one. And this one is for budget. We just have to type in budget here. So let's see how we switch through this. Can you see this now? Seamlessly. All right, we are done with all of this. We can actually have them hidden. And now we can go to insert. From insert, we click on this particular one here, right? So once you're here, we can step into it. In case you can't see it very well, let me just go here. So now we click on the button part here and click on here navigator. Now we select bookmark navigator. So once we select bookmark navigator, we're going to have this up. So this is it here. So we can actually fit this one into this particular part and make it a bit smaller and make sure it is somewhere around here. So I want to make it to look like something like a website. I don't want something like this. I think this is cool already. If you want to go with this one now, it's cool. But I want to actually have a different feel on this. So we can start to customize what we have right here. So why don't you drop down? Why is it wrong? Okay, take this up. All right, the next thing now is to go over here. Make sure this color here is copied. More colors. So highlight, Ctrl C. So we step back off to here again. So we click over here now. And the first thing we do is to go over to this particular, I think it's going to be under style. So under style, the default color should be different. Let's go over here. There is no border. So default color, we choose to have this. Right? That is beautiful. So now, the text is something we need to change as well. So the text here should be this one. You can decide to select a darker version of it. I think this one is okay though. So let us go for the selected one. Selected one here. We choose a bright color. So no selection yet. So if I make a selection now, this is what is going to be active. So for the selected one here, I want to have an underline and the color should actually match my background. So I'm going to go down here and use this color, paste this one over here. So now it has matched my background. Let us quickly scroll all the way down until we see this particular accent bar. So make sure you have it opened and click over here and you select bottom. Then you choose the color you want. We want to actually have this color over here. Something like this. All right. And that one again is that when we go back, the unselected one, which is the default one, we want to have them on hover. Okay, just click on hover, on normal hover, it to be defaulted to the unselected one. So for hover, we want to choose this and increase this one. So when we hover, it's increasing, but the color still remains the same thing on hover. It remains the default color. So let's go over here and choose to have it here. So now on hover now, the color still remains the same thing, but it's increasing. Can you see it now? This is what you can do. If you have something like this, it's great. So because we are on Power BI desktop, when I actually hold my control key, I can navigate through different parts of this report. If you have been following this particular project, we have come to the end of this. I'm going to be seeing you in the next set of report or dashboard right here on this particular channel. And I believe this actually gives you a lot of values. So thanks for watching. See you in the next videos.